All right, so tell me about your theory on finance in the cattle industry.
On finances, at the price of land today and the price of cattle, there is no way that a young man can borrow the money and get in the business. Uh, he can make a good interest on his money, but if he can only pay the interest, he's not getting anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So he, you can start off by saving some money and buying some cattle and renting some land. And as you make a profit, buy more cattle, rent more land. When you get up to a certain point, then you can buy some land and pay for it out of the cattle. But if you've got to borrow for cattle and land and upkeep, you can't do it. So you've got to figure out ways. If you can get your land paid for, your cattle paid for, from then on, if you run a tight ship, you can't be, nobody can break you. You'll go up and down in on your financial statement according to the price of cattle, according to the price of land. But if you don't owe anything, you don't even have to make a financial statement. Nobody's checking on you, it's yours. And on selling cattle, and my mind runs primarily to grazing cattle and steers. But when you buy that calf with your own money, then you might as well forget what that calf cost, because when the buyer comes out to buy your cattle, I never have seen one ask you, what'd you give for that calf? They don't care. That calf has a value today, and they're working on that, and you own that calf, so you start right there when you sell that calf. When you get your money, then you keep out your out-of-pocket expenses, which should be not more than $100, and lay that aside to run on the next year. Now, you buy your replacement calf, weighing 450, something like that. You are right exactly then where you were last year. You got your expenses, you got your land, and you got your calf. And you sold that big steer, so you'll have some money left. That is profit. You might have sold that, you might have lost money that year, according to Uncle Sam and the revenue people. But you've got the calf, you've got everything, and you've got some more, you got some cash left over. That is profit. And you can use that to buy more cattle, to buy more land, and gradually creep and crawl until one day you'll wake up and you'll be worth quite a bit of money. The cattle business, a grazing operation, is not a full-time operation. We keep our fences up, we keep our pool levees good, we watch our grass, and we spend, we will average 2 to 3 hours a day on 12 to 1,600 head of cattle. And then we don't have anything to do. We go home and see them the next day. But it is not a full-time operation. It's a part-time operation if you will set it up that way. And anybody getting in the cattle business, if they will get them a job too for their living, the wife and the children and the house and this and that, and leave their cattle business completely separate from their occupation, then you will show a profit every year and you'll get bigger. But don't take some out to buy a refrigerator. That should come from your job. And your cattle operation is a sideline, doesn't take long, and then put that money back into the cattle operation. In my case, I was a veterinarian, so I had a good living. I had 4 children in college at one time because all of them got advanced degrees. But our living took care of that, my practice. And the cattle business was a sideline, completely separate. We never swapped the money back and forth.
And we were out here this morning, for example. I've come out with you this morning. We've been out here about 2 hours, and you've moved how many herds of cattle?
3.
3 herds of cattle.
Yeah, one bunch had 2 loads in it, one bunch had 3 loads, and one bunch had 7 loads. Load being 50,000 pounds. But we moved about 800 head this morning, and it took us about an hour because we were talking and all that. But we actually worked an hour, hour and a half, and we're through. My book explains the sell-by thoughts on selling cattle. At that time, when I wrote the book, the cattle business was more stable than it is now. And you could contract cattle, say in April, for September delivery, and they pay you $30 down payment to seal the deal and deduct the $30 when the cattle were delivered. But now, with the price of corn and the flux, and the packers making money, the feedlots losing money, the feedlots are not wanting to buy cattle on contract now for September, October delivery because they don't know what the corn crop is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a difference. If the corn crop is high, or the corn is high, then the cattle have got to be cheaper for the feedlots to make any money. And they don't want to buy them right now because they may find out that we have a drought or something and corn will shoot straight up and they'll lose another $200 a head. So they're waiting and just buying about a month ahead.
In your opinion, what's the difference between a feedlot and whether they could do a sell-by marketing versus your operation? And I'd assume you're going to tell me it's cost, but Cost of gain, true cost of gain. Is that true or not?
What the feedlots are wanting to do now, because when they buy, say, a load of cattle, they will also go on the mercantile exchange and buy enough feed to feed those cattle. I mean, it'll be in the thousands a head, but that's actually what they're doing.
They're hedging it out ahead.
They're hedging it out ahead. And they're not wanting, none of these cattle are sold. But that doesn't really hurt us, because if the market on these feeder cattle goes down, then your calf crop is going down too. And if it's a dramatic drop in your feeder steers, there will be a more dramatic drop in the price of calves. And so you just ride with it, sell your cattle, buy your replacements on the same market.
And the difference, of course, being essentially your profit and operating capital.
Yeah.
Yep. Just like you explained a while ago.
Yeah. If we sell these big steers cheap, and they actually are losing money according to the Internal Revenue Service, but you can buy that calf cheap, the replacement calf, you still got some money left. You'll always have some money left if you own the cattle,
Mm-hmm.
because you sell a big one and buy a small.
But that's if it's your own money.
That's if it's your own money. If not, the banker will insult you if you go in there short. You got to have your own money.
What's it you say about feeding the banker and feeding yourself? How's that work? Isn't that one of your old sayings?
Yeah, you can't keep up two families on that. You got to own the thing to stay solvent all the time. That doesn't go. As far as equipment, it's got a lot to do with it. You can see lots of people with 30 head of cows, and they own one or two tractors, a hay baler. For instance, in the bank, there, Mark was president of the bank, and he had a man come in there one day that had inherited 100 acres of land when his daddy died, and he wanted cattle at that time. A cow was worth about $300. He wanted about $26,000 worth of cows to put on that place. Mark told him fine. He owned the place, didn't know anything on it. He let him have the money for the 20 cows. Boy came back in a day or two later. He said, I'd like to up that loan a little bit. He said, I found a tractor and a hay baler and a rake and a mower, and said, I can buy it for $20,000. So I want to borrow another $20,000. So you got 20 cows. Yes. He said, well, it'll take about 3 bales to put a cow through the winter. Yeah. He said, 3 or 4 bales. He said, that'll cost about $1,200–$1,400. Yeah. He said, if you bought it. Yeah. He said, but you're going to pay me more interest than that on that equipment, and then you've got to do the work and you got to have the hayland laid out to do it. He said, let the cows graze the hayland, and you won't have to buy as much hay, maybe not any, and you won't have that $20,000 depreciate. Or I said, well, if I'm not good for it, then I just don't want anything. Mark said, that's all right. He came back a few days later. He said, let me have the money to buy the cows. He did. And he could do it. But I go to lots of farmers, big cattlemen. They hire me to come in there, and I've never had one of them try to hire me that was making money.
Okay.
They all are losing their rump. And I go in there and I start, the first thing I do is those big farms, they have good bookkeeping. And I tell them, I said, now, inventory your cattle and tell me how many dollars worth of cattle you got. And then you inventory your equipment and tell me how many dollars worth of equipment you got. And if you've got more equipment depreciating than you have cattle appreciating, you're losing your tail. And that's what they're doing. And you can start making them sell equipment and get down to a bare necessity, and they'll start making money. But an acre of hay will make, an acre of grass will make about 3 bales of hay a year, maybe 4. Well, that hay is worth $30 a bale if you buy it. But if you will take your expenses, you find out with all that, it costs you more money than that to buy the hay. I mean, to make the hay yourself.
Than to buy it.
Than to buy it. So why not buy it? You're getting other people's, that hay man, you're getting all his phosphate, potash, and lime, and putting it back on your place. And at the same time, you've got to fertilize yours to replace it if you grow it yourself. And they don't stop to think what that bale of hay is costing them when if they let the grass grow, they can make the winter without the hay.
Now you're getting at a real one of the points I think you're famous for is grazing management.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things you're saying is you've got to plan out and execute a grazing system, correct?
Yeah, yeah. You can, there'll be something that you can raise in the winter in this area through here and so forth. It's fescue. You got to manage your fescue. You want to graze it down to let you, along April, May, get that fescue down, let your summer grass come through, and keep grass coming all the time. A cowman, my neighbor, he's an excellent cowman. Now he is down now to where he puts up 1 bale of hay per cow. And when we get bad weather, long in the spring, he's got that bale of hay that he can feed that cow for a month or so to supplement her.
And you had cows a long time ago, but
yeah,
but I think we talked about that earlier. You got rid of them back in the late '60s, is it?
no,
Early '70s.
70, 74.
Okay.
I'd running 900 cows out here. And my calves, the year before, they were worth $400 a piece. And then that year, those calves were $40 a piece. So I saw right quick that it didn't pay to keep a mama cow for $40. You couldn't keep her for $40. So I sold all my cows and put the money in somebody else's calves and kept my calves. And I've been running grazing cattle ever since.
And yet you have, now I'm taking you back to your grazing management statement, but you have grazing all year.
Yes.
Same as if you had cows.
That's right. That's right. You've got to study your grass and know what you're doing, because your grass, your fescue for the winter, is going to come out of dormancy in this area in September. So you sell your cattle in September, your steers, and that grass, your fescue, will have a good run there during its growing time, and by November it will be up to where you can start putting your steers back on to feed. Your feeder steers are always highest in the fall, and your calves are always cheapest in the fall. So you're selling your big steers at the highest point of the market and buying your replacements at the low point of the market.
And as I recall, you've always liked steers more than heifers, right?
Yeah.
Gain, overall performance, less
Uh,
problems. What's your reasoning?
in the first place, a heifer in a grazing season she's a female, and she is going to gain 50 pounds less than the steer. That is a proven fact all over the country, that your heifer's going to gain 50 pounds less, and you're going to sell that heifer at a nickel less to a feedlot, so that you can't even look at a heifer equal to a steer as unless you can buy that heifer at a minimum of 10 cents under.
10 cents under.
Because she's going to put on 50 pounds less, she's going to bring a nickel a pound less. And then you're going to have a certain number of bred heifers. You're going to have neighbors' bulls in your pasture, and the feedlots don't want that. And it's best just leave the heifers off and buy steers.
Makes sense when you put it that way. So, Doc, you've been an inspiration to a lot of people. I think a lot of people really appreciate your willingness to share information. So, just wanted to tell you, we all appreciate that. Is what's the plan for the rest of your cattle career? You're 90 now.
Well, I won't be 90 for 2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
You don't. There's not enough work. If you keep your head good, you can continue. Buying cattle is just like stock market. You don't just go down on the stock market and just buy willy-nilly. You got to take your time first, see what the price is, see what the PE is, see what the dividend is, and you work all that in, and then you pick out, I'm going to buy this stock, and then you start on another. But work that thing to where you see what you're doing, and that you can look ahead if a company has got too much debt, or if it's backing up on its inventory, not selling as much, leave it alone. And cattle business, same way. It's a commodity, and you work it just like uh, you buy on the stock market. And I can do both of them. I can go out here and check the cattle and the grass and see how it's growing, how the cattle are doing, and then I can go home, check the stock market, work on it a half a day.
Well, thanks for sharing everything with us. We appreciate you.